Mizan news agency affiliated with Iran's judiciary announced the execution of Aqil Keshavarz, an architecture student at Shahrud University, on charges of spying for Israel. According to the reports, the 27-year-old was arrested while traveling to Urumia during what authorities called the 12-day war. He was held at the Urumia Central Prison and, in a fast-tracked process, tried and sentenced to death. Reports say his family was allowed a final visit just one day before the execution. Meanwhile, Tasnim news agency linked to the IRGC intelligence organization described him as holding monarchist views. The speed of the arrest, trial and execution has sparked widespread outrage and alarm among the public and human rights advocates, once again raising serious questions about due process, the right to defense, and transparency in Iran's security cases. Bita Shafi'i, a pro-monarchy political prisoner from Shahinshar, has been detained for over a month and remains in legal limbo, held in solitary confinement at Dolatabad prison in Isfahan. Her mother, Maryam Abbasi Niku, has also been detained for 36 days and is being held in the same prison without a clear legal status. According to shared reports, both women are being held without formal charges or judicial clarification. A source close to the family said bail for Bita Shafi'i's temporary release was set at 4 billion tomans, an amount the family cannot afford, leaving her detention ongoing. Bita Shafi'i was arrested by IRGC intelligence agents at a relative's home in Khorramshahr. She had traveled there after her mother, Maryam Abbasi Niku, was arrested in Shahinshar. Despite repeated follow-up, security and judicial authorities have provided no clear information about the charges, legal status, or case process for either woman, deepening concern among their family and loved ones. The death sentence of Sayyid Muhammad Jawad Wafai Sani, a political prisoner held in Vakilabad prison in Mashhad, has once again been upheld by Iran's Supreme Court after his request for a retrial was rejected. A person close to Mr. Wafai Sani said that the Supreme Court's rejection of the retrial request was formally delivered to him in person. Following the notification, prison officials informed his family that his case had been sent to the Mashhad office for the implementation of sentences. It was also reported that his mother was unexpectedly granted an in-person visit. According to informed sources, the final confirmation of the death sentence, the transfer of the case to the execution unit, and the sudden approval of a family visit all signaled that Sayyid Muhammad Jawad Wafai Sani's case has entered an extremely critical and alarming stage. Maryam Basir Tawana, the sister of slain protester Mehran Basir Tawana from Iran's nationwide uprising, was arrested by security forces and transferred to Lakan prison in Rasht to serve a prison sentence. During her arrest, authorities gave no explanation to her or her family about which court issued the ruling or how it was to be enforced. No charges were mentioned in the report. Ms. Basir Tawana had previously received a 45-day suspended sentence and a fine in 2 separate cases and has a prior record of arrest due to her activism. Her brother, Mehran Basir Tawana, a 29-year-old protester, was killed by gunfire during nationwide protests in Somme Sara. Her arrest has once again raised serious concerns over mounting security pressure on the families of those killed in the protests. The trial of Mohsen Parish, a pro-monarchy political prisoner held in Karaj Central Prison, was held at Branch 2 of the Karaj Revolutionary Court. According to sources close to his family, Mr. Parish defended himself against charges of propaganda against the regime and insulting the leadership. Another part of his case related to alleged insults and disobedience towards officers is being handled separately at Criminal Court Branch 103. Mr. Parish was transferred to solitary confinement as punishment and returned to Ward 16. Since then, he has been banned from contacting his family by order of prison authorities. His condition and the ongoing restrictions have raised serious concerns among his family and loved ones. During a memorial ceremony for the late Khosrow Ali Kurdi in Mashhad, Haydar Shah Chamandi, a pro-monarchy activist, was beaten and arrested by security forces. After clashing with regime security agents, Mr. Chahchamandi, his face covered in blood, began reciting verses from the Shahnameh, which is the epic of the kings. He was then assaulted by security forces and taken into custody. He remains detained in legal limbo at an IRGC intelligence detention center. Three days after the arrest of Mohammad Zanganeh, a 23-year-old from Mashhad, his family remains in complete uncertainty about his whereabouts and condition. He was detained by security forces and taken to an unknown location. According to his family, Mr. Zanganeh had shared a video online after attending a memorial for Khosrow Ali Kurdi, showing Mr. Ali Kurdi's photo attached to his motorcycle license plate. Shortly after the video was posted, one of his social media accounts was shut down. Hours later, security forces raided his mother's home and arrested him without presenting a warrant or offering any explanation. When Mr. Zanganeh's father went to the Piruzi intelligence office in Mashhad to seek answers, he was met with hostile treatment and received no clear information about his son's location or legal status. Officers reportedly told him only to wait for a call, a response the family describes as humiliating for Mr. Mohammad's elderly father. The situation is especially alarming as Mohammad Zanganeh recently underwent leg surgery and has around 30 screws and metal plates in his leg, leaving him in poor physical condition and barely able to walk. Originally from Torbat Haydariye and currently living in Mashhad, Mohammad Zanganeh has had no contact with his family since his arrest. His family is demanding immediate answers from security authorities and clarity about his fate. Abolfazl Khouran, a teachers' union activist and political prisoner held in Iraq prison, is facing a new criminal case while incarcerated, while still being denied urgent medical care despite a prison doctor's confirmation that he needs surgery. Sources close to his family say Mr. Khouran has been summoned to Branch 102 of Iraq Criminal Court to defend himself against a new charge of spreading false information online, a case opened against him during his imprisonment. According to the same sources, Mr. Khouran suffered a serious injury to his right ear in May after being assaulted by prison officials. He was transferred to a hospital with symptoms including dizziness, infection, and severe pain, but was returned to prison without specialist examinations or tests due to the absence of a physician. Although the prison doctor has diagnosed hearing loss caused by cholesteatoma and stressed the need for immediate surgery, authorities have so far refused to transfer him to an external medical facility. Prison infirmary staff lacking proper expertise have reportedly limited treatment to painkillers. The combination of new charges behind bars and continued denial of medical care has intensified concerns among his family and human rights activists over Abolfazl Khouran's physical condition and legal situation. Mohammad Boroghani, detained during Iran's national uprising, was released from prison after his sentence was suspended for 2 years. He was initially charged with muharebe, which means waging war against God, and sentenced to death, a ruling later overturned following legal challenges. His punishment was reduced to 5 years in prison and 10 years in exile, before the court ultimately agreed to suspend the sentence. Mr. Boroghani's case became one of the most closely watched during the protests sparked by the state killing of Mahsa Amini, drawing widespread public outrage and concern from human rights groups. Staff at Imam Khomeini's hospital in Ahvaz held a protest inside the facility over unpaid wages and officials' disregard for healthcare workers' living conditions. According to reports, the protest wasn't about special privileges but about crushing economic pressure and repeated pay delays. Staff say the situation has become critical, leaving them unable to continue under ongoing neglect. Also, a group of nurses in Lorestan province gathered outside the governor's office and the Lorestan University of Medical Sciences to protest long overdue wages and severe living hardships. Videos circulating online show students from the University of Tehran dormitories gathering outside the main entrance of the dorm complex to protest the commercialization of the university and the poor conditions in student housing. According to reports, students from both the men's and women's dormitories took part. Protesters say the university is no longer a place of learning for many students, but a profit-driven enterprise where welfare services are steadily being stripped away. Students at the University of Tehran held a protest outside the central library of the university's main campus, objecting to the cancellation of housing for 6th semester MA and 10th semester PhD and undergraduate students and the administrator's failure to address their demands. A young oil project worker who had staged a solo protest in the main square of Foulad Shahr was arrested by security forces. Reports say the protest took place amid intense economic hardship and living pressures. Witnesses say the worker openly spoke about his job and livelihood struggles while voicing his protest against the current situation. Workers at Verda Zartak Manufacturing Company went on strike over economic hardship and mounting living pressures. Reports say the walkout reflects workers' inability to cover basic daily expenses. Protesters warn that continued disregard for their livelihoods has left them with no option but to strike. The sudden, simultaneous shutdown of SIM cards, POS machines, and bank accounts belonging to around 4,000 shopkeepers and citizens in Lorestan without any prior notice sparked a wave of outrage and protests across the province. A group of addiction treatment providers from various parts of the country gathered in front of the Ministry of Health to protest the shortage of addiction treatment medications. According to reports, the protesters said that shortages and disruptions in the supply of medication have caused serious problems in the treatment process and have put patients' health at risk. The treatment providers emphasized that the continuation of this situation will lead to a crisis for both patients and treatment centers. Support and healthcare staff at Ahvaz Jundi Shahpur University of Medical Sciences gathered outside the university's central administration to protest their living conditions and unpaid wages. Telecom retirees in Tehran, Isfahan, West Azerbaijan, Khuzestan, and Kermanshah held a protest condemning the erosion of their rights, mounting economic pressure, and the crony-driven takeover of the telecom sector. According to reports, protesters denounced what they described as the plundering of retirees' pensions and systemic abuse by state institutions, saying years of corruption and rent-seeking management have pushed their livelihoods into crisis.